Hello and welcome everybody to the Family Audio Podcasting Project, Part 3. We will be looking at sound design and using sound effects and music in this part. So let's start up right away. My name is Tom Sternad, the lead digital artist of the Creator Space, and welcome. So what we want to look at is sound design. So we want to, now that we've recorded our audio podcast, we want to add sound effects and music. So we can add or record sound effects to the podcast vocal tracks. We can also add music if desired or required. And it's really simple to do this. So what we can do is we can add an extra track, and that way we can just record any kind of sound effects that we may need. Or you can even record your own music, for example. And you know, those kinds of sound effects, simple ones like that we need for this particular podcast is we want to be able to record some outside ambient sound, for example. The other thing we can do is there's a library of loops, and we can search files directly on our iPad to find existing sound effects and also some music tracks. There's a great library, a lot of free stuff that we can access. So use what we have and what we can access to, and it's really free and accessible. Then what we want to do is we've got to add each sound effects file and music file to a separate track. And this is important because in the mixing stage you want to be able to have different levels for each type of sound effect. Okay. So let's go right over to the iPad. So I have my iPad. I'm just going to go right into the GarageBand here. And what I've done is we actually have, I marked this one shot here, the one track I should say, outdoor ambience. All I did was I just went outside and recorded the sound outside. And that really helps us have some basic overall sound to it. So we can just give that a little bit of a listen. So here's what it would sound like. What we can do too is we can actually solo tracks. So by simply using, we can use this the headphone track here. Let me just get a little bit closer. We can use this headphone button right here. I can click that, and what it does is everything else is gray, right? But then the one track is blue, and that's the only one that we'll hear. So then I can play that. That I recorded. So that works. That's really simple to use. So that's one thing. Then what I did was I wanted to look at, there's some bird effects that I wanted to add. So again, I'm just going to solo that. I'll let you guys hear what we put in, a little bit of a bird track. And that's great. So the way that we can do that is just unsolo it. And again, soloing just means that we'll hear just that track alone. That's the great thing about having everything on different tracks. Then what we need to do is we can go to the top here. There's this little loop circle button. So I'm just going to show it right here. So there's this little loop button here. If I hit that, it lets us access a whole bunch of library tools. And here we can actually type in what we want. So for example, I have like a car that's supposed to pass by in this podcast script. So I can listen to it. That's kind of fun. And then all you need to do, and it even tells you, tap and hold loop to drag into your song. So I'm going to tap that with my finger. I'm going to drag it right in. And there we go. It says transportation. So now what I can do is I can, again, just solo that track there. Okay, and we basically keep adding all of these types of tracks until we're satisfied that we have what we need. Let's just do the car as well. So what I need to do is a car, I'm going to do a peel out. So we hear a bit of the cars, we hear the birds, right? And now what I want to do is, those must be the neighbors. They always have music playing, right? So we're gonna search just something. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to the genres, electro house, and then I'll just listen to some of these. I'm just going to drag that again into my track here. Okay, and you'll see how long it is. And this is the fun part. So then what we can do is we can actually trim things down. We'll get into that sound editing part. So here we go. So we got some birds, cars, music. And we have our original, all our original dialogue tracks, right? So we have everything that we recorded before, we have right here on the top, right? And then we've added in some sound effects here. We've added in that music for when the neighbors drive by. So the next thing that we'd like to do is, we want to be able to get into some sound editing, right? So in terms of sound editing, all that we're doing there is we're just cutting down any track, and that's simply by dragging the beginning and or the end. And just really, you're trying to ensure just to have the right length of the track, really all that you need. That's all that you want to include in it. So for example, when we have our music track is really long, right? I'm going to be able to just, I can just drag it, click on the end there, and I'm just going to have it for a little bit, like so. And you can see it would fill up the whole track there. I can just make it shorter. Same with the ambience. What I want to do is my podcast vocals, and right about here, so I can click on that, and I'm just going to drag that and make that a bit shorter too. And that way everything's the right kind of length, and we want to get everything in the right type of timing and length, and that's really the part of the sound editing that's crucial. So you just click on any of the tracks, and then you can adjust them and make them shorter as you wish, and get them roughly to the right length that we want. And then the fun part is, after we have everything tracked, that's our sound design, so music, sound effects, we get into some of the mixing. Okay, so for next time, what I want, part 3, Simon, want everyone to add in all your sound effects and music for your podcast, edit all the tracks to the desired length, and remove any unwanted parts. That could be, if there's a little bit of extra talking at the end of something recorded. And that's all you need to do. So that's the sound design, and have fun and be creative. Things can be funny, things can be overly dramatic. And again, narrative podcasting, try to get things that really fit your story. So that's it for this week. Next part, we will be exploring the sound mixing and then exporting your podcast. So thanks again for joining us, and have a great rest of the day.